Hi everyone, this is Dr. Kainat Mirza. I am making some video for the NAC OSCE since NAC OSCE is upcoming and a lot of you have been requesting what is important for the NAC OSCE. Since I can't make a full-fledged how to actually go for that one, I will try to make some time to go through one case so you guys have an idea how to go and do score at least 2ST for NAC OSCE exam. So you will be able to score well and ended up with a good CARM scoring. So you get interviews and ended up matching. So coming back to NAC OSCE, there is some things that I would start one by one. At least you get to an idea what the examiners are looking for, how you need to prep yourself, what further things you need to work on. Although a lot of people have been telling you that you should be practicing a lot, but what other factors that is important other than just practicing? So we can go through this thing. So as you can see, this is the table of contents that I'm going through. So basically, I'll go through the scoring section, the golden structure of for every station, communication, time management, history taking, physical examination strategy, counseling and patient education, ethics, professionalism, high yield questions with the scripts, and then common mistakes, final exam checklist. So you need to know at least all of these ones. So stay connected till the end. And if you have any question, you can always comment below and I would love to answer that. And then we can go further from there. Whatever your questions will be, I'll be trying to make videos on that one. I will also try to stay connected with you guys so I can make more videos about what your actually exam query is. If you're particularly looking for some sort of questions, then you can also email me, but I will also happy to answer all of those questions in the comment section as well as in the email. So let's start with the OSCE overview. So basically, OSCE evaluates your clinical reasoning, your communication skills, and your professional behavior. So professional behavior means how you enter the room, how in what position you are sitting down, in what position you are talking to the patient, in what position you are examining the patient, and in what position you are talking to the like your body language is very, very important along with your speaking language. You are not expected to be perfect, but you must be safe, organized, and patient-centered. Safe means obviously you cannot go for the red flags. Organized means like whatever you are saying, the next person should understand from A to Z, not like you are very disorganized. Now you're talking about A, then you move on to Z, then you move on to Y. So you should go like A, B, C. This is what, so the next examiners know that what you are looking for and what you are trying to rule out. Then again, the patient-centered approach, I will, advise this, I will offer this, and then patient decline, whatever it is. So you can only offer, you can only advise, not put it as, oh, I will give this to the patient. So you cannot go like make a decision for the patients. Coming to the scoring system, this is more like how they go for it. It's just a little bit of, factuation thing. It's not 100% scoring, but usually how they evaluate is basically a data gathering, how much you are going through a history, how good your communication is, and how good your clinical judgment is. So all of these things matters. So in the end, how good you are with the practice, how good your communication skills is, and how much you know about that one. It's okay to not able to go and find one diagnosis. At least you come up with the differential diagnosis. At least you know what the patient is circulating around. If there is a chest pain, is it coming from the stomach or is it coming from the heart? So you need to at least differentiate between heart and the stomach pain. Okay. A candidate with the average knowledge but excellent communication often passes. So I'm letting you know these are the three aspects. But again, reaching out proper diagnosis does not mean that you know everything and you have like, you are 100% good. But that's another extra point that you can get after having a good communication. Okay. Coming to the golden structure is an introduction. You will start with, hello, my name is Dr. Kainat. Let me go with myself. I'm a medical graduate. Can I confirm your name and age? Or you can always start, hello, my name is Dr. Kainat Mirza. I'm an international medical graduate. We'll be helping you today. Can I start with your name and age first? Or this is your name and age. Can you confirm that? So you can go either way. Then comes the consent. I would like to ask you some questions and possibly examine you. Is that okay? So now we are going for the full consent. So you can always prepare your own consent words or list or name or the line, however you probably like. Then start with open-ended question. Never ever, oh, from my understanding, I saw that you have a chest pain. Can you tell me more about it? So although they have written outside a person, he's sitting inside with the chest pain, you can always start with, oh, from my understanding, this is what it is, but can you tell me more about it? If you don't want to talk about that, you can always say, what brings you in today? How can I help you today? Uh, can you tell me more about it? Stuff like that. So they can actually talk. So when they are talking, you are not supposed to interrupt. That is one of the red big flag. Usually a lot of people, like, when they're talking, they counter question. I mean, I understand you do have a frustration. You can always write it down in your hand paper, like whatever you are holding, but you cannot go ahead and stop the patient and let you talk, because he's gonna eventually tell you everything. Then once he come up, okay, my chest pain is this, then you can go for focused history. Now you are coming to exact, okay, this is the chest pain. Okay, what brings it? Is there any shortness of breath? Is there any activity that makes it more? How do you describe the pain? Like all of those history questions, like OPQRST. Then coming to the eyes, so you need to understand your ideas. Like when you are making questions, even in your history, the next person can evaluate what you are trying to rule out. So if you're asking about the chest pain, so you ask about how it makes it more, like what exaggerates the pain and what decreases the pain. So in that case, it can help you to figure out what kind of pain it is. Is it CHF or is it something else? Okay. Then comes to the concerns, like shortness of breath. So you are ruling out pulmonary embolism and stuff like that. Any recent travel, any oral contraceptives if she's a female. So these things. Expectations. So what your expectations? So basically, let's suppose if you already, come up with everything, especially in the counseling part, and now you don't know where you are going to. Sometimes you are stuck. So patient knows, oh, I have already tried that. I have already tried that. I don't know. I don't want that, this and that. You now you are stuck and you don't know what to do. So in that case, you can always, so can you tell me what's your expectation from today's visit? This will help you to lead towards somewhere that what patient is looking for. So in this is the thing that can help you to bring out of that struggle, that what you need to go from there. Okay. Then comes to the physical examination. So ideas, concerns, and expectations is something that can help you to bring out from that struggle. Physical exam, usually you have to verbalize, this is what I'm going to do. This will help you. This will cause a tenderness. This will cause this. So you are actually speaking, not just performing. Summarize in the end, let me summarize what I have understood. So this is the chest pain. This is blah, blah, blah. So you have to be very thorough about that. Then plan and counseling. Chloe, do you have any questions? And then you can finish it up. Communication master strategy. Always, whenever they say, oh, I am having chest pain, or, my pain is like 0 to 10 out of 10, it's 7 or 6, then I'm so sorry, it must be difficult for you. Kind of these statements can help you. Silence means let the patient speak. So when you are asking a question, you stop. It might be 1 or 2 seconds that, uncomfortable quietness, and you wanted to ask something, but you have to be okay with that uncomfortable quietness. It's fine. It means you are giving some time to patients speak. Avoid medical jargon means like using, oh, this is arrhythmias, this is heart attack, or like, kind of those things. So you have to come up with this, like not MI, you can go with the simple words. Again, this is empathy questions, like sounds really difficult. I understand your concern and stuff. So now we are coming back to a most important point, which is time management. So introduction and opening should be only 1 to 2 minutes. So you have to be very concerned and very elaborative, especially when it comes to psychiatric part. I always go with the concerns or whatever you're going to confidentiality as well. So I don't get stuck in middle where I'm thinking about what else should I say. So in psychiatry points, I always give the confidentiality in the start as well. Like it's up to you. You want to go with the confidentiality in the end, whatever works for you. Then comes the history. It should be 4 to 5 minutes, examination 1 to 2 minutes, and then there is a plan for 2 to 3 minutes. Always leave time for closure. So you have to leave like at least 20 to 30 seconds to, oh, do you have any question? And then you can, finish it. It makes other person like, yeah, you are very calm, collaborative. You are more like calm and collective. Sorry, not collaborate. Calm and collective. And then you know what you are going from there. History taking, so you are going to start with onset, location, duration, like all those things. So I have used this old charts. You can go for PQRST, whatever works for you. Severity, then add past medical history, medications, allergies, for family history, social history, all of these things. Physical examinations state what you are doing. So I'm going to examine your abdominal pain. I might press it hard and it might be uncomfortable. If it hurts, just to let me know, I will stop. And then you can start the examination. Now it's basically, now I'm going to put my stethoscope on your tummy and listen some of the sounds. If it makes you uncomfortable, let me know. So these are the things that will help you to go with, okay, this is a strategy. This is the next step he's doing. This is the thing. Okay. Uh, counseling skills. Counseling skill is something usually you have to start with obviously the same history questions. Now at one point, now you don't know what to say, what to go further. That's what I said. What's your expectations from today? What's your main concerns for today? What is your idea about the disease? So these things can go with that one. Usually assess with understanding like how much they know about it, provide the information. Okay, do you understand this? If you have any question, please let me know. I will stop right away and I will make sure you do understand that one. Then lifestyle advice, safety netting, like, comes to however the things are. Ethics and professionalism. So we are going to start with the confidentiality, consent, and cultural sensitivity. So make sure you do touch all of these things, especially the confidentiality in psychiatric cases. I just have a couple of questions here. So this is basically like stations. So let's suppose the chest pain. Can you describe the pain for me? Then onset, radiation, like shortness of breath, nausea, like where is it coming from? Counseling, we are concerned about possible heart causes, but we cannot say. So in the end of the cases, let's suppose you did a history and you ended up making, now this is definitely an MI. But you cannot say until you do an EKG or other, cardiac enzymes and stuff. So this is my concern, or I am thinking of this, but we will further confirm through our investigation. So you cannot 100% say this is what it is, especially from your history. I do understand a lot of you know better than anyone, and your information and knowledge is way, way, way better, and you can come up with this diagnosis, but it does not mean you can, actually say that. So you have to, give them a margin about that. Safety net is basically, if possible, worsens, then call emergency immediately, like this and that, because now you are doing a clinic setting. So it's going to be different. Coming to depression, have you ever been, how are you feeling lately? So in this case, it's important to assess for the mood, appetite, sleep, suicidal thoughts. If there is a suicidal thoughts, then active plan. What are you thinking? So all of this. Have you have thoughts of harming yourself? So you also have to ask about, have you thought about harming yourself or anyone around you? So I haven't added that part, but yourself is important, but surrounding people is also important. So you have to rule out both homicidal and suicidal thoughts. Empathy, I am really glad you shared this with me. I'm really glad that you came to visit me. I'm really glad that you came to discuss it with me. So things like that. So you are appreciating and motivating patients so they can come next time too. Then comes abdominal pain, location, bowel changes, fever. Those are the things because you're ruling out cancer as well. Does anything make the pain worse and, better? All of those. Smoking cessation, this is more like a counseling. Have you considered quitting smoking? Assess readiness, how ready you are, which stage you are, advise, and offer the support. Which state they have, like if they tried before, like what did they have done? Have they take the nicotine patches, gums, or anything else? So these things. And what brings you back so you understand what was the reason that, made them think of starting the smoking again. Breaking bad news should be in difficult setting, perception, again, asking about what they know, invitation, how much do you want to know, knowledge, giving them how much is the thing is, then empathy, giving them sound and time to think about and giving sorry, like feeling sorry for them, and then strategy, what further we are going to do for you. Antenatal counseling, like mainly discuss about nutrition, supplements, and warning signs. So if they ever feel any of that one, they can go to ER. So this is what their strategy is. Now coming to the most important part, which is basically common mistakes. We do know what to do, what we don't know, what we don't need to do. So interrupting the patients, as I already mentioned, if the patient is talking, although you do understand that you want to speak something and you want to ask something so you don't forget in the future, write it down. Just write it down. I do understand sometimes multitasking is very difficult. So just write down the word. You don't have to write on the whole line on your paper. No summary, it means like in the end you were not able to collect your information into one line. So it's very, very important to come up with one conclusion in the end. I'm not saying you have to say 100%. This is what I am thinking, but we will confirm with this. Now you said what you are thinking, but you are still not sure. So we'll go with the blood test. Even if what you said is wrong, we still have a margin of going for the blood test. Poor time management, like you are focusing on history and history and history, and you're not, up to physical examination, you are not coming up to conclusion. So poor time management, as I said, 1 to 2 minutes for that, 2 to 4 minutes for that, and stuff like that. Ignoring emotions, someone is crying and then you're just asking questions and questions and questions, and someone is feeling pain and you are just saying questions and questions. You have to be sorry, you have to be empathetic towards that person, you have to be sympathetic, like, kind of those things. Then final exam checklist, introduce yourself, confirm the identity, use eyes, like ideas, concerns, and expectations, show empathy, stay structured, summarize, and provide safety net. Power phrases, this must be very difficult. I understand your concerns. We will, work through this together. Do you have any questions? And then the final advice is basically success in the NAC OSCE depends on practice, structure, communication. So practice out aloud in front of mirror, in front of like cameras, in front of someone, whoever you feel comfortable with, but at least speak out loud. Even if you're not doing it in front of mirror, in front of anyone, at least you're sitting by yourself, just speak out loud. The more you speak, the more you will get better. So in that case, your thoughts get organized and you will be able to do even more. Let me know if you have any more questions towards NAC OSCE. I will try to cover that one. I will try to, build up all those important stations together so we can go through that one. If there is any concern, do let me know. And if you have any questions, do comment below, or you can send me an email and I will definitely love to answer you. Thank you so much, everyone. Hope to see you next time.